Have you ever noticed how some guys seem to have women chasing them, even though they barely lift a finger? No cheesy lines, no long love letters, no chasing, and yet women go out of their way just to get their attention. Meanwhile, the men who show effort, who try their best to be available, to impress her, to make her smile, they're the ones getting ghosted, left on red, or stuck in the friend zone. This doesn't happen by accident. There's a deeper reason behind it, and it has everything to do with the way you think. Not what you say, not what you wear, not even how much money you make. What if I told you that there are 5 mindsets that these men have that you probably never learned growing up? 5 mental shifts that completely change the way women see you. These aren't tricks, these are not games. These are powerful beliefs that, when you adopt them, will shift how women treat you, without you having to chase, beg, or pretend to be someone you're not. By the end of this video, you'll understand why chasing women actually pushes them away, and why becoming the man who doesn't chase pulls them in like a magnet. If you want women to respect you, desire you, and pursue you, you're in the right place. Watch this till the end, and type "unstoppable" in the comments so I know who stayed and absorbed every insight. Also, support this channel so more men like you, who are ready to transform, get access to these life-changing tools. Your support fuels this mission. Let's begin. Mindset 1: the abundance principle. The mindset of abundance is one of the most powerful shifts a man can make, not just in dating, but in life. At its core, abundance is the belief that you are enough and that your life is full, even without external validation. It's the deep internal understanding that your worth doesn't come from whether one woman likes you or not. It comes from how you see yourself, what you're building, and how you live day to day. Men who embody this mindset don't avoid chasing because they're playing games or trying to manipulate. They avoid it because they don't need to chase. Their world is already full. Their time is already taken. Their hearts are already invested, not in someone else, but in their mission, their goals, their growth. These men know that their value is not dependent on whether a woman chooses them. It's already there. And because they don't need to chase, women are drawn to them strongly. Let's break this down. Most men are conditioned to believe that if they find a woman they like, they have to do everything they can to secure her, to prove themselves, to be agreeable, to win her affection, to fight for her attention. While this may sound romantic on the surface, what it often creates is fear. The fear of loss, the fear of rejection, the fear that she's the one, and if she slips away, that's the end of your story. That's scarcity. That's the belief that your opportunities are limited, and you better hold on to what you've got. Even if she's not treating you well, even if she's not showing real interest, even if you're not growing through the connection. Now contrast that with abundance. A man living in abundance doesn't panic when a woman pulls back. He doesn't overthink when she delays a reply. He doesn't spiral into doubt if she's not immediately reciprocating. Why? Because his entire identity isn't wrapped around her approval. He knows that she might be beautiful, fun, or charming, but she is not the only one. He doesn't say it to be rude. He lives it because he knows his worth. He knows he can meet other women, have meaningful conversations, and build deeper connections. If not with her, then with someone who truly values what he brings to the table. When you embody abundance, it shows in everything. It shows in your posture, the way you walk with presence. It shows in your speech, calm, grounded, and never trying too hard. It shows in your choices, not chasing temporary pleasure, but making decisions based on long-term value. Abundance makes you rare, because most men are not living this way. Most are still begging for attention, trying to win her over, losing sleep over one unread message. But a man with an abundance mindset doesn't just wait around. He lives, he builds, he attracts, and that's what makes him magnetic. When a woman senses that your life is already rich, that you're not chasing her because you have better things to do, something powerful happens. She starts wondering about you. She starts noticing your energy. She starts leaning in, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you genuinely are hard to get. Not because you're avoiding her, but because your life already has so much purpose that you don't have time for anything less than mutual respect and genuine connection. If you're serious about building an abundance mindset, the work starts with you. Start by removing the belief that your life only becomes complete when you have a woman by your side. Your life is already in motion. You are already on a journey. A woman who joins you is a bonus, not the foundation. Begin focusing on areas of your life that bring you value with or without someone else. Hit the gym, not just to look better, but to feel stronger. Read more, build your career, master your finances, strengthen your social circle with people who elevate you. The more value you add to your life, the more abundant you become, and the more naturally you'll attract women who respect that. Also, start being honest with yourself. Are you talking to her because you genuinely connect? Or are you scared she's your only chance? Are you compromising your time, energy, or boundaries because you believe this is your last opportunity? If the answer is yes, it's time to pivot. Your energy should never be centered around trying to keep someone who isn't showing consistent interest. That's not love, that's fear. And fear is the opposite of abundance. In a world full of scarcity-thinking men, the man who lives in abundance becomes unforgettable. He isn't desperate, he isn't insecure. He doesn't chase, not because he doesn't care, but because he knows that the right woman won't make him feel like he has to. She'll meet him halfway. She'll value him because he values himself. That's the man you must become. So from today forward, remind yourself daily, I am the prize. My life is full, and I choose connection. I don't chase it. When this becomes your truth, you won't need validation anymore. You'll become it. Mindset 2. Pull over, push. The mistake most men make, and they make it without even realizing, is that they think effort equals interest. That if they just show her how much they care, how much they're willing to give, how deeply they feel, then she'll return that energy and everything will fall into place. So what do? They initiate every text conversation. They plan all the dates. They're quick to compliment, quick to validate, and even quicker to chase. But here's what actually happens. She starts to feel overwhelmed, disinterested, and worst of all, emotionally in control. See, when a man constantly pushes, by over-texting, over-calling, over-explaining, it doesn't come across as attractive. It comes across as insecure. It signals to her that you're placing too much of your value in her response. And once she senses that, she's no longer intrigued. You become predictable. She knows exactly when you'll text, how you'll react, and what you'll do next. That mystery is gone. And when there's no mystery, there's no spark. Let's make it clear. Pushing is not confidence. It's neediness in disguise. When you're always available, when you're always initiating, when you constantly try to prove your worth through actions she didn't ask for, what you're really saying is, please like me. And the problem is, real attraction isn't something you beg for. It's something you allow to happen, naturally, through space, curiosity, and tension. That's where the concept of pull comes in. Pull is an entirely different energy. It's the energy of calm certainty. It's the kind of energy that doesn't force attention but naturally attracts it. A man who uses pull doesn't need to chase because his presence already carries weight. He speaks less, but every word hits deeper. He gives just enough to create curiosity, just enough to create wonder. He understands that mystery isn't about withholding, it's about pacing. It's about allowing space for her to think about you, to miss you, to invest in you. Pull creates a dynamic where she feels something rare, emotional tension. Not anxiety, but the good kind of tension, the type that makes her check her phone to see if you've replied yet, that makes her wonder what you're thinking, what you're doing, and whether she's impressed you. And that's critical. Because when a woman feels like she has to earn your attention, her emotional investment increases. She starts giving more. She starts chasing. Not because she's being manipulated, but because she feels something valuable is at stake. Now, how do you create pull? First, match her energy. If she texts once, you reply once. If her messages are short and casual, don't respond with a 3-paragraph novel. If she takes hours to respond, don't reply within seconds. Let the energy between you be balanced, not one-sided. This shows you're not desperate. It shows you have other priorities, other responsibilities, and most importantly, that you have emotional discipline. Second, stop always being available. Don't let your life revolve around your phone or her schedule. Have your own plans. Fill your day with things that matter to you. Work, hobbies, workouts, passions. When you're not constantly available, she starts to value the moments you are. She learns that your time has weight, that your attention isn't handed out easily, and that if she wants more of it, she has to step up. And that right there flips the dynamic. Third, use playful tension. This isn't about being mean or dismissive. It's about keeping things fun, unpredictable, and slightly challenging. Instead of saying, "I had a great time, let's do it again," try, "I might let you convince me to do that again sometime." It's light, it's playful, but it also sets a tone. You're not over-invested. You're still evaluating her just like she's evaluating you. That back and forth creates emotional depth. It keeps the connection exciting, fresh, and dynamic. But the most important part of pull, it's your self-respect. A man who pulls doesn't do it because he's trying to play games. He does it because he knows his value. He's not afraid of her leaving. He's not scared of losing her. He's grounded in who he is. And because of that, he doesn't need to prove anything. That energy of calm, composed masculinity is rare, and rare is what women chase. If you want to stop pushing and start pulling, begin with your mindset. Ask yourself, what am I communicating with my energy? Are you trying to win her approval, or are you showing her that your time, attention, and affection are valuable? Are you leading with confidence, or are you overcompensating because you fear rejection? When you stop chasing and start pulling, everything shifts. The power dynamic evens out. She starts investing. She starts initiating. She starts chasing you. Not because you asked her to, but because you made her want to. And once you experience that shift, once you become the kind of man who pulls effortlessly, you'll never go back to pushing again. Mindset 3. Time is status. The one resource every man has in common, rich or poor, confident or insecure, beginner or expert, but how you treat your time says everything about how you value yourself. And when it comes to attraction, nothing speaks louder than your relationship with your own time. A man who places low value on his time sends a clear signal. My life isn't full enough, so I'll drop anything the moment you call. That doesn't make you seem romantic, it makes you seem lost. It makes it look like you have nothing better to do, and nothing kills attraction faster than the appearance of a man who is not in demand by his own life. Let's be real, women are incredibly perceptive. They notice how quickly you respond to their messages. They observe how often you initiate conversations, how available you are to make plans at the last minute, and how willing you are to cancel your own priorities just to be around them. While some men believe this shows interest and effort, what it really shows is a lack of purpose and self-respect. If you treat your time as if it's easily disposable, she will believe it is. And if your time is cheap, it means your energy is cheap. If your energy is cheap, your presence is common, and no one chases what is common. High-value men, on the other hand, operate from the understanding that their time is sacred. Every hour of their day has a purpose, whether it's growing their business, training their body, expanding their knowledge, or connecting with powerful people. Their schedule reflects intention. And it's not an act. They're not pretending to be busy to look cool. They genuinely are busy. They are building. They are focused. And when a woman enters their world, she can feel that energy. She knows he's not just waiting around for her to text. She knows he won't cancel his gym session because she's finally free for coffee. She feels that his time is earned, not easily given. This is where the concept of status comes in. Status isn't about flashy clothes or expensive watches. It's about how people treat you. And people treat you based on how you treat yourself. When you protect your time, you elevate your status. Suddenly, your presence carries more weight. When she knows you have a packed life and still choose to spend time with her, that moment becomes valuable. It feels intentional. And intentional attention is infinitely more attractive than constant attention. Men who chase often fall into the trap of rearranging their life around a woman's schedule. She sends a late-night text and he replies immediately, even if he's in the middle of something important. She cancels plans last minute and he forgives it without question. She goes days without replying, and the moment she pops up again, he welcomes her back like nothing happened. These actions don't communicate strength, they communicate availability. And availability without boundaries feels weak. It tells her, my time is only valuable if you're involved. And the moment she feels that, her respect for you starts to fade. Now let's imagine a different kind of man. A man who wakes up with a plan. He starts his day with purpose. His calendar is filled with things that build him, mentally, physically, financially. He doesn't open his phone first thing in the morning looking for validation. He checks his schedule, he completes his tasks, and when someone tries to pull him away from that focus, whether it's a flaky woman or a time-wasting conversation, he filters it out. He doesn't entertain distractions. He doesn't chase excitement. He stays loyal to his path. This man's energy feels different. He's not rushing, he's not reacting, he's creating. And because he's grounded in purpose, when he gives you his time, it feels like a privilege. That's the power of status. That's what it means to make your time a reflection of your value. So how do you implement this in your own life? Start by creating a non-negotiable daily schedule. Know what your priorities are each day. Protect those priorities like your life depends on it, because it does. Build your body, your income, your discipline. Use time blocks. Plan your week ahead. If a woman wants to meet last minute and you already have important tasks, decline politely. If she cancels last minute, don't punish her, but don't reschedule instantly either. Let her see that your time isn't something people can play with. Also, delay your responses. You don't need to reply instantly every time. Take your time, think. Respond from strength, not anxiety. Let her feel that your world continues with or without her, not because you're being cold, but because your life is already in motion. And finally, when you do choose to spend time with a woman, be present. Give her your full focus. Let her feel that even though your time is limited, she has your attention in that moment. This balance, being protective of your time yet present when you give it, creates a powerful emotional experience. It tells her you're a man who leads his life, not one who chases approval. Remember, time is the currency of kings. When you waste it, you devalue yourself. When you protect it, you elevate your presence. Start moving like a man whose time is expensive, and watch how the world starts treating you that way. Mindset 4. Emotional non-reactivity. There's something powerful about a man who doesn't flinch. A man who, even when things get uncertain, doesn't crack under the pressure, who stays composed, measured, and in control. In the world of dating and relationships, this trait, emotional non-reactivity, is like gold. It doesn't mean being cold or emotionless. It means having complete control over your reactions, no matter what's happening around you. And for a man who wants to stop chasing and start attracting, this skill is non-negotiable. Let's be honest, most men are emotionally reactive, especially when they really like a woman. One late reply and their stomach drops. One hey instead of hey babe and they start spiraling. They reread conversations, they overthink the tone of a message, they worry about being ghosted. It's not that they're weak, it's that they haven't learned how to emotionally regulate themselves. And this reactivity becomes a trap, because every time you overreact, you show her that you're not grounded. You hand her emotional power, and she feels it. She may not say it, but she senses that she's now leading the emotional dynamic. That's not attractive, that's exhausting. Non-reactivity flips this script. It means you don't give your power away so easily. You're not rattled by silence. You're not shaken by mood swings. You're not panicking because she didn't call. Instead, you become the calm in the storm, the steady force she can't quite figure out, but can't stop thinking about either. That mystery, that emotional control, that presence, it's magnetic. It tells her you're not here to chase, you're here to lead, and she'll either rise to meet you or walk away. But either way, you're not moved. Now understand this. Emotional non-reactivity isn't pretending to not care. It's not about suppressing your feelings or becoming numb. That's just emotional avoidance, and it leads to bitterness. Real non-reactivity is emotional strength. It's feeling everything, the confusion, the anger, the desire, but not letting it control your actions. You feel it, you acknowledge it, and then you choose your response consciously. That's power. Think about the most charismatic, respected men in your life, the ones people turn to in chaos. They're not the loudest. They're not the ones who react impulsively. They're the ones who breathe before they speak, who pause before they act, who assess the situation without being emotionally hijacked. That is what women are drawn to at their core, not because it's manipulative, but because it makes them feel safe. Safe doesn't mean boring. Safe means stable. And in a world full of emotionally unstable men, stability is incredibly rare. and incredibly sexy. Let's break this down into daily behavior. A woman doesn't text you back for hours. What do most guys do? They double text. They question what went wrong. They get irritated. They start checking her social media. Maybe even send a passive-aggressive follow-up. What does that do? It kills the vibe. It communicates, I'm not secure. I'm threatened. I need you to respond to feel okay. That's not leadership. That's insecurity. The non-reactive man sees the delay. He notices it. He doesn't ignore it, but he chooses how to respond. He doesn't panic. He doesn't create stories in his head. He doesn't reward bad behavior with more attention. He goes back to his focus, his workout, his business, his passion, his tribe, his mission. And when or if she replies, he responds if he wants to, from a place of clarity, not craving. That's emotional control. Another example, she pulls back emotionally. Maybe she seems distant. Most guys chase harder. They increase their compliments. They try to win her back. They try to force a connection that's fading. But what does a non-reactive man do? He leans out too, not to punish her, not to play games, but because he recognizes her shift and mirrors it. He observes, reflects, and lets her come to him if she wants to. He doesn't beg. He doesn't argue. He doesn't become emotional fuel for her detachment. He remains still. That stillness, that grounded masculine presence, it's what draws her back, if she has the capacity to respect it. So how do you build this skill? It starts with the pause. The moment you feel triggered by her message, her silence, her unpredictability, don't act. Pause. Breathe. Reflect. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What story am I telling myself right now? And what would a calm, confident version of me do? Then do that, even if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's uncomfortable. Because every time you pause instead of react, you strengthen the muscle of emotional leadership. Also, invest in grounding practices. Meditate daily. Journal your emotions so they don't bottle up. Hit the gym to release tension. Surround yourself with strong men who keep you accountable. The stronger your internal foundation, the less likely you are to be rocked by external noise. And remember, she's watching. Not just what you say, but how you handle things. Your reactions are a direct reflection of your maturity and self-mastery. In the end, emotional non-reactivity is not just attractive, it's liberating. It frees you from the emotional roller coaster. It gives you control over your own peace. It teaches you that no matter what happens, you remain grounded. And that level of calm power is what separates the men who chase from the men who attract. Be the latter. Own your energy. Control your response, and the world, including the women in it, will begin to respond to you in a whole new way. Mindset 5. Mission first. If there is one thing that separates men who are truly magnetic from those who are always chasing approval, it is this. They are on a mission. Their life has purpose beyond dating. They are not waking up every day thinking about how to get a woman's attention. They are waking up with focus, direction, and discipline, chasing something far bigger than validation. And that single shift changes everything about how the world perceives them, especially women. When a man is on a mission, his energy is different. He doesn't need to prove himself to anyone because his results speak for him. His posture, his voice, his presence, they all communicate certainty. He's not moved by every emotion or distracted by every temptation. He's rooted in his direction. Whether it's building a business, pursuing a career with passion, refining a craft, elevating his body and mind, or even creating something meaningful for his community, he's in motion. He's becoming someone valuable, and that value radiates. Let's contrast that with the man who's not on a mission. His time is loose, his decisions are random. He waits around for a woman to reply, adjusts his whole day to meet up, sacrifices his routine to be more available. He lets attraction guide his direction, instead of letting his direction attract the right relationships. This kind of man becomes easy to ignore, because when a woman feels that you're orbiting around her, instead of your own life, her attraction drops. Not because she's cruel, but because women aren't designed to lead a man. They're drawn to a man who already leads himself. When your mission comes first, it creates natural boundaries. You no longer tolerate poor behavior just because a woman is attractive. You no longer settle for half-hearted energy. You don't compromise your long-term vision for short-term validation. Instead, you become selective. And selection, not desperation, creates power. You become the man who doesn't need to chase, because his path is already filled with momentum, purpose, and impact. This is not about ignoring women or being unavailable on purpose. It's about living in such a way that your life becomes magnetic. You're building something so solid, so fulfilling, so forward-moving that people, including women, want to be part of it. You're not asking them to complete your life. You're inviting them to add to a life that's already in full motion. The truth is, when a man lacks purpose, he over-focuses on women. His thoughts are filled with overthinking conversations, checking his phone, comparing himself to other men, wondering if he's enough. That energy is weak. Not because he's weak as a person, but because he has no bigger mission channeling his strength. When a man finds his mission, all of that noise disappears. He stops worrying so much about being liked, and instead starts building a legacy that earns respect. Your mission might not be obvious yet. That's okay. You don't need to have a billion-dollar idea or some grand destiny figured out. What matters is that you choose something that forces you to grow, something that challenges you daily, something that demands your focus, stretches your limits, and builds your discipline. That might be launching a business. It might be mastering a skill, getting in peak shape, traveling with purpose, leading others, or committing to a vision that's hard but worth it. When your mission is at the center of your life, dating becomes easy. You stop putting women on pedestals. You start assessing them based on how they align with your direction. You start attracting women who respect your time, your discipline, and your presence. You naturally repel drama, inconsistency, and energy drainers. Not because you're cold, but because you simply don't have space for anything that doesn't elevate you. Women don't want to be your mission. They want to support a man who has a mission. They want to feel your forward motion and know that your life is going somewhere with or without them. That creates safety. That creates admiration. That creates the desire to be a part of your world, not because you beg them to join it, but because your world is worth joining. So the question is, what are you building right now? If a woman walked into your life tomorrow, would she find a man so obsessed with his vision that she's inspired to support him? Or would she find a man who drops his priorities just to keep her interested? Be the man whose life is so full of passion, discipline, and direction that you don't need to chase anyone. Build yourself into a force of nature. Make your presence a reward. Let your mission speak louder than any pickup line or flirtation. Because when your life is aligned with something greater than attention, you become the kind of man who is not only respected, but remembered. If you've made it this far, type unstoppable in the comments, because that's what you are. You're not the same man you were at the beginning of this video. Now you know why chasing doesn't work. Now you know what actually pulls women in. You've got the mindsets. You've got the tools. The next step is to live them. Support this channel if you want to keep leveling up and helping more men like you wake up. Every time you support, you're making it possible for someone else to learn what you've just learned. You're part of a movement now, a mission to make strong, confident, self-respecting men the standard again. If you want to make this real in your life, download the free Magnetic Man checklist below. Print it, study it, live by it. You'll be shocked at how fast your energy shifts and how quickly women start responding differently. You're no longer chasing, you're becoming, and that changes everything. Subscribe, share this video with a brother who needs it, and I'll see you in the next one.